we got a lot to cover in this short video. Of course, I'm gonna do a longer video, but I felt like I needed to hop on and keep y'all updated on what's going on right now in the league. I think you probably already know about since the league has ended. Since Sunday, there's been a lot of stuff been going on. Like 48 hours hasn't even passed, or 72 hours hasn't even passed. So big news. John Harbaugh gone out of Baltimore. That's out of 18 years. I wasn't really too surprised. I pretty much already was saying, like, I think the Ravens should probably move on from John Harbaugh. Maybe John Harbaugh can have a fresh start. But I did mention this before. I think I mentioned this actually last year when it was talk that the Ravens might fire John Harbaugh early in the year of last year, when the Ravens had a very, very slow start. And I said and that ended up being the result. So, they didn't fire him. Same thing this year. They had a start. Lamar Jackson started getting hurt. They started losing games, and not only they started losing games, but they had a losing season. And I can't remember, the Ravens probably had a losing season. I don't know when the last time the Baltimore Ravens had a losing season. But it was no surprise to me that Baltimore fired John Harbaugh. Now, I said this last year. I said that, if they do fire John Harbaugh, I would like to see, maybe, this is wishful thinking, maybe John Harbaugh can take a trip out to LA and he can, team up with his brother. Now, the chances of that is probably unlikely because perhaps, John Harbaugh is a head coach and he's probably not going to want to do that. But if there's any interest in the air, he definitely can do that. I mean, who's stopping him? And I don't think at all that if John Harbaugh were to bring this to Jim Harbaugh's attention of freaking saying, hey, I wouldn't mind coming to LA and, teaming up with you. Let's see what that's about. I don't think Jim will be opposed to that. I don't think so. I think Jim will make a phone call to Greg. It will be like, yo, not Greg Roman, Joe Ortiz, and we'll be like, yo, let's bring Big Bro over here to LA. Let's bring Big Bro over here to LA. So I'm like, yo, if John Harbaugh somehow could make an appearance coming to Los Angeles, that would be gangster. Like, it really would. I'm not saying it would happen, but I did kind of brought that idea out there, like last year. And there's people that's been talking about it. There's people that's been talking about the fact that, there's Charger pages that's talking about it, and stuff, and they're saying that, hey, what if John Harbaugh makes a trip to LA? What if John Harbaugh teams up with his younger brother Jim with the Los Angeles Chargers? I mean, especially now I think that will only be more talk if we lose Jesse Minter. Now, I don't know if we're going to lose Jesse Minter or not, but there's definitely been talk about that because all the firing and everything, and especially now since the Ravens, they fired John Harbaugh, Jesse Minter, he has ties with that team, and so he can more than likely, that he's the favorite. He's definitely the favorite to go to Baltimore, So, but if we lose Jesse Minter, it'll be a great replacement of replacing John Harbaugh. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, and then, we already know right now what's going on with the Dolphins. Miami Dolphins firing Mike McDaniel. I said this early this season. I was like, yo, if the Dolphins get rid of Mike McDaniel, man, I would love to see him be the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. Now, Mike McDaniel is more realistic than John Harbaugh, but because Greg Roman, I don't think any Charger fan thought that, likes Greg Roman. I don't think anybody was freaking what can I say it? Like the hiring of Greg Roman at all. Greg Roman, to me, he's never really been a big, like, he's never really been a great offensive coordinator. I mean, he did all right when he was in Baltimore, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I never really liked him, but I think like if he does, like, I think if we do get rid of Greg Roman, Mike, can you imagine Mike McDaniel with freaking Justin Herbert, and with that offensive talent that we have with Rondé Gatson, Trey Harris, Keandre Lambert Smith, maybe if Keenan Allen runs it back, and who else? Lad. We have so much. We have drafted so much talent on that team. Like, a lot of the blame has been going on that offensive line, but if we actually had a great offensive coordinator, our offense would not have been looking as bad. Our offense was looking bad last year, and a lot of the blame went to the interior of the offensive line. But again, Greg Roman is like, what is the one of the best ways to make your offensive line better is if it's a good running game. So if you have a bad offensive line and your quarterback is getting hammered, one of the best ways to overcome that struggle is to have a better running game. And Greg Roman is what? What is he known as? Is he not known as a running offensive coordinator? Is he not known for a running game when he was in Baltimore, and when he was with Jim Harbaugh as well? So why is the Chargers running game still below average? Because it hasn't been, to my understanding, it hasn't been even average at all since Greg Roman has been our offensive coordinator. And Justin Herbert this year is leading the Chargers, is leading the entire team in rushing yards. When we had Najee Harris, yeah, he got hurt, and then we drafted Amarion Hampton, and then we have, what's the other guy's name we drafted from Troy? I can't remember his name right now. Kamani Van Vidal. So where's the blame should be more on Greg Roman than even our offensive line, because if we had a good running game, that running game can make the offensive line a lot better. And so it's the same thing with Chip Kelly. Like, Chip Kelly's not really known as a running offensive coordinator, but a lot of people are knocking, the rookie running back that they drafted, and it's really not even. It's not he's not the reason why, I'm saying he's not producing. It's really because of the terrible play calling that Chip Kelly was doing up there with the Raiders in Vegas. So I think, and we talk about running game, Mike McDaniel is phenomenal with the running game. Like, if you go back and look at the tape from the Miami Dolphins, a big reason why that offense was so great was not only because it was Hill or whatever, no, because they had a really, really great running game. And so I would freaking love to see Mike McDaniel as the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. I would advocate for that. If we can fire Greg Roman and we can hire Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel is the hottest name right now on the market as far as offensive coaches are concerned. It's considered. So the Chargers better jump on that. If Jim Harbaugh is talking about, he wants to invest in Herbert, he wants to give Herbert everything that he can for Herbert he wants to get Herbert to the Hall of Fame, he wants to get some Super Bowls, Jim Harbaugh is going to have to face reality, be real with himself, be honest, which I know he is that type of person, and he's going to have to say Greg Roman is not the best offensive coach for Justin Herbert. He's not. Justin Herbert has to overcome so much adversity, pretty much almost dealing with the same stuff he has been dealing with prior to Jim Harbaugh. If Jim Harbaugh can get Mike McDaniel somehow with the Los Angeles Chargers, that would be one of the greatest things for Justin Herbert outside from the hiring of Jim Harbaugh. That will be Justin Herbert will be unstoppable. He will be unstoppable. That offense will be unstoppable. We have talent on that offense. It's just not prevailing because of freaking Greg Roman. And he has way too many question calls. Justin Herbert, the reason why that offense even looks okay is because of Justin Herbert making something always, every single play, constantly making something out of nothing. This is the second year in a row. We cannot afford for it to go year 3. And then if it doesn't happen, we blame it on the offensive line. Because that's what's going to happen next year. You're gonna be like, well, the offensive line is not blocking. The offensive line sucks. No, it's because of the stupid ass play calling that Greg Roman is doing. That's the reason why. So, hey, I'm saying it right now. The best thing, the best offseason move for the Chargers is to get Mike McDaniel with LA. That would be the best move. Mike McDaniel, he's not suitable to be a head coach, but he's definitely damn sure suitable to be an offensive coordinator. And he will become one of the greatest offensive coordinators in the league, if not the best. So we need to go ahead and handle that. All right. That's all I got for right now. Y'all take care.